Hi there, I'm James Scott of the Scottish Resistance. I've been at a rally today at Wallace's Well, the Wallace Monument in Robroyston. This was to remember William Wallace. William Wallace was captured at Robroyston on the 5th of August 1305. The pact for the betrayal of William Wallace took place at the old Rutherglen Kirk, which funnily enough still stands today. It's a 12th century tower still standing today in the Rutherglen Main Street. As I say, he was actually betrayed there, and later in the day he was captured at Robroyston. So today I'm actually at Robroyston. We're holding a rally here, the Scottish Resistance, and I'm going to tell you a bit about the Scottish Resistance, because I've got to tell you that the mainstream media have blackened the name of the Scottish Resistance. They will not let me tell them what the Scottish Resistance is all about. So today I've got the opportunity now to tell you what the Scottish Resistance is all about. Membership is totally free to anybody in the world. Here I have a card, Scottish Resistance, and I'm going to read you now the aims of the Scottish Resistance. The Scottish Resistance is a peaceful movement of activists dedicated to restoring Scotland's independence from the British brainwashing power of the elite Westminster imperial masters. They have ruthlessly, got a wasp here, they have ruthlessly exploited Scotland for too long. All decent people welcome here, irrespective of race or religion. We only want good people, no racists or bigots. Now that is the aims of the Scottish Resistance. Any racists or bigots are expelled from the group. We don't want that sort of thing in the Scottish Resistance. So that is basically all the aims of the Scottish Resistance.
Found others on the way. I have kissed the ladies and left them crying. Stolen dreams, yes, there's no denying. I have travelled hard, sometimes with conscience flying, somewhere with the wind. Let me tell you that I love you, but I think about you all the time.
That's a good sign.
Caledonia, you're calling me, now I'm going home. But if I should become a stranger, know that it would make me more than
No, the other guy was going for them.
Caledonia's been everything I've ever had.
I've already done that. I could be dangerous longer if I do that. I'm the Longridge. Where's that?
Full of fighting stars.
You know what I mean?
So why is this called? I want to know why.
Now I'm sitting here before the fire, the empty room, the forest choir, the flames that couldn't get any higher. Well, they've withered now, they've gone.
It's more likely it was betrayed on the 5th of August.
See the fifth
Taste.
100% patriots. Yous are the guys that have remembered Scotland and people like William Wallace. So don't ever forget that. You're just as valuable to the cause as the people at the top. The people at the top of the SNP or people at the top of any of these groups. As patriots, yous are just as valuable. Right, just to go back to Wallace now. He was actually captured. The signal to capture him was made by the turning of a loaf, believe it or not. They were in a bar, and what happened was the loaf was turned over, and that was a signal for the English soldiers that were in his presence to know that he was there, and then they swooped on him. And as I say, he had his friend with him, and his friend stood by Wallace, and he was killed on the spot. Then they quickly got Wallace on a horse. Instructions were to get him to London as quick as possible. It took them from the 5th of August right up to the 22nd of August to get him down to London in Fenchurch Street in London, where he was held in a house overnight. And we all know what happened after that. The following day he had the Kangaroo Court in London, where he was granted no defence, not allowed to give any defence against the charges of treason. However, when they did sentence him, that's when Wallace did speak out and said, "How am I a traitor when England is foreign to me?" Because he was a Scottish citizen. And I'll tell you something, I'm a Scottish citizen, and I hope everyone who uses a Scottish citizen, I'm getting more rebellious every day. I'm going to stand against all these unfair Brit laws. If anybody needs any help to escape things like the fucking TV licence, or they want to escape debt collectors or anything like that, come to me, I'll tell you how to do it. I'll tell you how to do it. One of the things to do to get rid of these debt collectors and people like that are pursuing you, they always go by these bloody stupid laws that have been brought in by the fucking Westminster mob. And one of the laws is that they've got to ask you, what's the first line of your address? What you say? I don't comply with the Data Protection Act. It blows them away. They'll not be able to take things any further. So remember that if you're ever being pursued for any debt, just say, I don't comply with the Data Protection Act, and that gets rid of them. If you need help with getting rid of TV licence people, come to me, I'll help you with that as well. We are going to get more and more rebellious now as the time gets nearer to win back our freedom. Any help you need with any of these officials, let me know and I will give you help with that. So anyway, back to William Wallace. We already spoke before at previous rallies about how the story of Wallace's legend, a lot of what we know is under dispute. Some people say he was born in 1270, some people say he was born in 1272, some people say it was 1274, some people say he was 6'6". All these are all just stories that have been made up about William Wallace. We really don't know the full facts, unfortunately, because it was days of warfare and a lot of what went on was not recorded in history. The only thing that was recorded in history was that in a legal document that went to Germany, he is listed as the son of Alan Wallace of Ayr. That doesn't put me off the idea that there was still a connection with Elderslie, but he is listed as son of Alan Wallace of Ayr, and that's in a legal document. Right, now I'm going to ask up the first speaker, Donald Anderson of the Scottish Republican Socialist Movement. Donald!
It's a shame we're here at a traitor's stone, and Scotland's not short of traitors, but no country is. It doesn't matter where you come from, the world's full of traitors. But our biggest traitors at the moment are in the city chambers, who don't even acknowledge this exists. They were asked to provide some money to renovate this place. It was falling down a bit, and we got some money from Asda and sort of Aldi's and somebody else. But the city chamber says no, because there's no proof that Wallace was betrayed here. Of course there is, there's plenty of proof. And they're the biggest traitors of the lot. They should be having their own Menteith rally every year and every day of the week. And last week, I think it was, we're at Elderslie, we're at Wallace's house. Who knocked the house down? That was Labour in 1974. I came to that rally that day, and Jeanette, my wife, was there. We're talking to a pile of stones, Billy Wolfe, Hamish Henderson, and the Wallace Society then was called the Wallace Commemoration Committee. It was run by the SNP. It was run to make all these commemorations, not just the Wallace thing. And one of the founders was a Roland E. Muirhead. He was a capitalist. His father owned a tannery in Greenock, and he put a lot of money into the SNP, including monuments like this. But he also paid for the SNP offices. He bought them in a corner of Ellen Bank Street and King Street. If you know, it's now a cafe upstairs and downstairs. But they sold it when Hume got elected, because they're queuing outside the street to join. Sold it and moved to Edinburgh, which was a bad move, I think. But he would turn over his grave. But the same man, Roland E. Muirhead, he also had premises behind the King's Theatre, where the Strathclyde Regent office was, not a big concrete monstrosity. It was called the Scottish Secretariat. They had books, you name it, everything, literature, T-shirts, badges, you name it, everything. Okay. And the Republican Socialist, so was he. All that stuff was there, so nobody mentions him, you know. I see we've got a statue, a plaque to David Ross, that's good. And there's one at Stirling Breg, and there's one at Elderslie, they're all over the place, and they've got a banner as well. But there's no statues or plaques to Roland D. Muirhead and lots of other people that James was talking about, the ordinary people that did the work, and lots of work, you know. So what? But anyway, James also mentioned where Wallace was betrayed in the Traitors Tower in Rutherglen. Now, we were there a few weeks ago, but there's a bigger Traitors Tower there that we mentioned at the time. If anyone's been down the main street in Rutherglen, you'll see a huge tower, and top of it you'll see a huge butcher's apron. Guess who runs that council? Labour. They were kicked out of about 64, I think it was, when SNP started winning all the seats in all the new towns, East Kilbride and all these places. They lost it at the next election, and the first thing they did when Labour got back in was take down all the soul tires and put the butcher's apron, and that one's been there since. So the next council election will be 2017, and hopefully we'll get rid of the whole lot of them, you know. Yeah. So that's fine. And talking about millionaires, behind there's a few houses owned by drug dealers. I hope they can put a few pounds into this. I won't mention any of the postal shoppers and drug dealers that are behind us in these houses. Over £1 million there, you know. That's it. Aye. But, there's always grasses everywhere you go into, and the shoppers out there. I better not say too much, but Wallace was betrayed by a guy called Monteith, and he plotted in the kirk the day before. So the dates are all wrong at the Wallace Society. So he couldn't have been executed, taken away on that date. They were in the kirk. And Monteith, he plotted with English commander, a guy called De Valens. I said at the time, you've heard of Liberty Valens, and this guy was not for liberty. He was a commander, he was a right swine, you know. He also fought against Bruce a year later at Methven and defeated Bruce at a smaller army. And a year later, Bruce defeated him at, I think it was Hamilton Hill. Well, not Hamilton Hill, Halidon Hill. That's postal Hamilton Hill. That's where the drug dealers are. But the same guy was at Bannockburn, and he defended King Edward II when he was running back to that fort near Falkirk, Grangemouth, where the refinery is. So he was chased all the way back there. He defended his king anyway. But others weren't so lucky. They get stopped at Dumfries, down at Dumfries. They get hammered, and another army was just waiting for them. The local people set about them anyway. So that was there to come up. But he got away with it. And Monteith, who grassed him, turned up at Bannockburn on our side, and he turned up at the Deck-Lights of Arbroath in 1320. So it's hard to say whether it's... Your converts have got to come from somewhere, and we're seeing it happening just now. So sometimes they're genuine, sometimes they're not. But we can never remember that man as a patriot. And James mentioned he turned over a bannock, that's what they called a loaf then, till up now he was there. But it's considered an insult this day and age. If you've got Monteith at your dinner table and you turn a bannock over each present, it's considered an insult. It's not his fault. His ancestor was a grass. Who knows what our ancestors were up to then? They could have been stealing coos or doing illicit whiskey, anything, you know. But that's that. Again, the biggest traitors of all are not only traitors to their country but their class, and that's the Labour Party. And at the moment, I'm talking of traitors, we've had them all along. Without mentioning names, there's been all sorts of groups getting formed since before the referendum. They all say they're for independence, but they're kind of wishy-washy about it, and they're downright against it. And they're all attacking the SNP and attacking Nicola Sturgeon, you know. There's one on today, I won't mention them, and some of our members that should be here today, even one that was speaking, are there. I think they're deluded, and they'll be disappointed when they get to know them. Right. We've known them for years, and all the dirty tricks they've played. They've played them on the Irish side as well, and they've played it on our side. And without a grass, how could anybody rule anybody else? And that's how British Empire was built. Divide et imperia, divide and rule. They could rule a whole country like India by playing one Raj against another. There's some huge battle that the British make a big thing out of. They didn't win it. They just bribed the local prince on that day, and he swapped sides the night before. Bribed him. They did that in Iraq. The generals, Yankee generals, got together with the Iraqi generals on the computers and did the wee games. They said, "We've got so many of this, that, and the other. You're outflanked, you're outnumbered." They said, and paid the Iraqi generals to surrender, you know, after they finished bombing them. But it happened here as well. Now, Monteith, he did well out of it. He was the sheriff of Dumbarton. That's under English occupation. He carried on. Now, all over Europe, when the Nazis took over, the local police helped the Nazis. They didn't just arrest criminals, they arrested their own patriots. They were resisting them, you know. And Jersey was probably about the worst. When you heard how Hitler was nice to the Channel Islanders, the police didn't just grass them up. They drove the high command about, saluting for them and everything, you know. And when the German intelligence officer was asked, how did you get all his intelligence? He says, I just opened my mail up every Monday morning and I got all the letters in grassing each other up. And when we're taking people towards the end of the war away from Jersey and Guernsey into Europe to work as slaves for the munitions, the people next door were going at their houses, taking over their houses. And sometimes the boat wouldn't sail, they'd come back, and they would have taken over their houses. And the biggest thing they ever did in resistance was the day before the occupation collapsed, they stood up and sang God Save the King in the cinema. Everybody's laughing, the Germans were laughing, they knew they were beat. But that's the height of their resistance, and our resistance is not going to be like that. So I think we better finish up now with today, we carry on, despite all the traitors and all the grasses and all the hard work and all the ill rewards, it'll always be for freedom and independence.
Thank you, Donald. That was a very good speech. Now, we're going to ask Ryan Randall, the piper, to come up now, and he's going to give us a lament to remember William Wallace. Okay, Ryan.
The tradition says that we give the piper a half. Is that all right? Aye. Now, Randall comes from a place in America. Missouri, is it? Missouri, you come from Missouri? Originally came from Missouri. He lived in the house next to where Jesse James was shot. Jesse was shot in the back by a traitor, so we're not the only traitors and scabs, you know. So, here you are. Take it easy, it's malt whiskey, Tesco's finest, and the old traitors, whether it's Bob Ford or Teeth or whoever they are Marcus.
Yes,
Good there, Ryan. Absolutely excellent. Now, there's a wee tin there if anybody wants to donate to Ryan for doing that brilliant piece on the pipes there. I'm now going to ask up Cheryl Scott.
Woo!
Good afternoon, folks. Thanks for coming out. It's a bit wild today, isn't it? This last week we seemed to be into the territory of trying to win the spoils of victory. Everyone arguing whether it be Wings Over Scotland about what you should vote in May, or what you shouldn't vote, and all the rest of it. It's disheartening. It's more than disheartening. We should be coming together at this time. As proved by this monument here, all through our history, we have had people who Donald said they would split us into smaller and smaller factions, and that'd be easier to control for those in power. At this moment in history which we're living through, we need to be coming together. We need to put what we had with each other in the past and put that to the past. We might not like each other across the broad sweep of the independence movement. It takes in a lot of people, a lot of different views. But the one view that matters is our freedom for our country. And people need to start focus on that. I'm not going to get into the intricacies of what you should vote in white papers and beach papers. But we have to be very, very careful in the next few months that we don't allow the unionist parties who have a very little voice in our country to have a bigger voice than they need. Think about how you're going to vote in May. Think about what you're going to support. We all need to support yes parties, whatever shade of political persuasion they may be. We seem to have a conversation, it's all about the left or Scotland, and I'm on the left, I'm a socialist, I'm a member of Solidarity. But let's not forget the people in the middle and forget the right. There is people, I've stood in yes stalls around the country with people who are conservatives, believe it or not, from the Conservatives and Unionist Party, but even they see that there's something bigger, something better for everyone. I'm disheartened again to see this whole subject of Scottish independence getting bogged down. It's only a left-wing movement. I personally would like a left-wing socialist country where we look after everyone from cradle to grave and give them the chance to expand themselves and the chance to be everything they can be. But let's not alienate people who could be our allies. We need every single ally we have in this country if we're going to win our freedom. The divide and conquer is there for all to see. I call on everyone in Scotland and beyond, if you've got Scottish interest at heart, to stop fighting each other. I said this last week, and I'll keep saying it as long as it's happening. I think maybe social media is like a magnifying glass on it, and it's maybe the same people over and over saying the same things, but it doesn't matter. You keep seeing the same things, and people are being told what is right and what is wrong. Well, to me, there's only one thing right, and that's Scottish independence and Scottish freedom from an empire, as Donald eloquently put it. They never won, they bought. So many people I see in all parties have been bought off, and it's pretty obvious. They need to look into themselves and say, why did I get involved in the fight for Scottish independence if only I was to abandon it for a few shillings or 30 pieces of silver from the Westminster coin? I plead with every single Scottish person who wants for a better world to stop the division. We want a country that can take these people that have been told they're migrants coming from Africa and Syria and all these places. They're not migrants, they're refugees. Refugees from the same people that rule over us. They bombed Libya to a standstill, and now people are fleeing. Well, what makes you take your babe in arms and try to swim across the Mediterranean, or sit in a dinghy with 50 other people when it's only built for about 12? The horrors that these people are facing. I want to be a country, I want Scotland to be a country to say, come come and we will help rebuild your life, and you can help rebuild our country. If anyone is doubting that these people are genuine, then I have to ask them to look in their humanity. It goes beyond borders, it goes beyond nationalities, it goes beyond politics. We're living in interesting times, as the Chinese would say. Let's get to the end of those times. We are freedom and be a beacon to the world. Thank you.